Today, we're going to talk about a word you hear constantly, security. National security, cybersecurity, security against this or that threat. But what if the biggest dangers to us aren't armies or bombs? What if real security is something much, much closer to home?
So let me just ask you, what makes you feel secure? Is it the number of jets in an air force? Or is it something more personal, like having a steady job, knowing where your next meal is coming from, and having a safe place to call home? We're going to explore an idea today that says those are the things that really truly matter.
All right, so let's get right into it. On one side, you have traditional security. This is all about protecting the state, its borders, its territory, using military might. But on the other side, you've got human security. And this slide, well, it lays out the difference perfectly. The focus shifts from the abstract idea of the state to the actual, living individual. And the tools, they're not weapons anymore. They're the building blocks of a good life, well-being, dignity, and a healthy planet.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look beyond the usual borders and bombs. Then we'll unpack the 7 key parts of human security. After that, we'll see why our planet is maybe the biggest security issue of all. Then we'll get into some real-world policy, and we'll wrap up by talking about a new kind of heroic quest for all of us.
So this whole idea of human security, it really got popular thanks to the UN a couple of decades back. They were looking at all these massive problems that just don't care about borderlines, Things like drought, pandemics, and global financial meltdowns. When you turn on the news, this is pretty much what you see, right? The traditional way of looking at security. It's a mindset that really came out of World War II, and it's totally focused on protecting countries from outside attacks with military power. The whole goal was to stop another huge global war from breaking out.
But human security, it just flips the script. It looks at the individual person and asks these really basic but crucial questions. Do you have a job? Can you get food and clean water? Is the place you live safe and healthy for your family? The big takeaway here is that it completely reframes security, not from the top down, but from the bottom up. Okay, so you might be thinking this all sounds a little vague, right? Like a general feeling of well-being, but it's actually not. The whole concept of human security is built on this really clear framework of 7 distinct parts that all connect to each other. And here they are. You've got the absolute basics, like economic, food, and health security, but it goes way beyond that. It includes things like environmental security, being safe from violence, that's personal security, and even the strength of our neighborhoods and societies through community and political security. Think of them like the pillars holding up a stable, secure life. And at the end of the day, all 7 of those pillars are there to achieve this one powerful 3-part goal laid out by the United Nations. The big idea is to create a world where every single person can be free from want, free from fear, and free to live in dignity. I mean, that's really the core promise of this entire approach. Okay, and this is where we get to the absolute heart of the issue for us right now, in the 21st century. Because while all 7 of those dimensions are critical, there's one that's kind of like the foundation for everything else: environmental security. The truth is, without a stable planet, none of the other types of security are even possible in the long run.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Environmental problems aren't some soft, luxury issue we can deal with later. They are a hardcore security issue. When water disappears or sea levels rise, those aren't just ecological problems. They're what we call threat multipliers. They can spark conflicts, force millions of people to move, and completely destabilize entire countries.
To really understand what this looks like for a real person, I want you to meet this man. His name is Hussein Kaiha. He lives in a desert region in southeastern Iran, and believe it or not, Hussein is a fisherman.
For hundreds of years, Hussein's family fished in the amazing Hamoun's wetlands, but not anymore. All the water upstream was diverted for farming. And as you can see here, what was once this incredible source of life is now just a desert. For Hussein, that means his personal security, his economic security, and his food security, they're all gone. Just like that.
And Hussein's story is not some one-off tragedy. Just look at this number. 90%. That is how much water has literally vanished from Lake Ormia, which used to be the largest saltwater lake in the entire Middle East. This is environmental breakdown on a mind-boggling scale, and it is a direct cause of human insecurity. So the problem is obviously massive, but it's not hopeless. There are solutions, and this isn't just some academic theory. The human security approach
is actually being used right now to shape policy and make a real difference on the ground.
You know, this idea that the planet's health is directly tied to our own isn't even new. In the U.S., it's been a part of the law for more than 50 years. The National Environmental Policy Act of 1970 basically says federal agencies have to stop and think about the environmental damage before they build a new highway or a military base.
And here is a fantastic example of this approach firing on all cylinders. In northern Uganda, communities were just shattered by war. So instead of trying one single fix, different UN groups teamed up with the government for a total, holistic approach. Yeah, they built roads, but they also backed that up with environmental projects and better healthcare. And the result? Now people can actually get to schools, to clinics, to markets. It's change that sticks because it addresses all those different pieces of human security at the same time.
So all of this brings us to our last section, and it brings us right back to you and me. Looking at security through this new lens, well, it really requires a shift in how we think. It changes our role from just being citizens watching from the sidelines to being active players in securing our future. Honestly, it's like a great heroic quest for the 21st century, and every single one of us has a part to play. So, what can we actually do? Well, the actions range from stuff we can do in our own lives, like reducing waste or planting trees, to things we can do professionally, like pushing our workplaces to be greener. And maybe most importantly, as citizens, we can support leaders who actually get it, who understand that a secure future means making smart choices about our planet's resources. Every little bit truly matters.
I just want to leave you with this final, really powerful thought from a UN coordinator named Gary Lewis. It's a stark reminder of the massive impact we're having and how urgent this all is. The path forward means we have to stop being the terror of the ecosystem and start being its guardians. Because at the end of the day, when we secure our planet, we secure ourselves. Thanks for tuning in.